Was there a point at which, when you were working with Dr. Brian Weiss and studying past life regression, that was kind of an aha moment for you?
Well, yeah. So the first meeting with Dr. Weiss, he did a past life regression, and I was in a group of people, and he did a past life regression. And well, no, not then. The first time I saw Dr. Weiss, I was in Pasadena, and I was right up front. I was a shaman and I was ready to go. I really didn't know what it meant, but he put us all in a past life regression. And all of a sudden, Zoom, I go to this place and I see myself as a little girl, a little cherub girl. I've got a little white dress on. I may be 5 or 6 years old. And I've got these handmaidens all around me, and they're giggling and laughing, and I'm playing with him. The next thing, I go to a next point, and I'm this tall, beautiful, statuesque Roman woman. And I've got this white gowned on with gold, and I was very wealthy. And then all of a sudden, this man comes to me, and it's somebody that I know in this life, who he and I had this amazing attraction to each other. But he comes to me and I see him, and I'm like, oh, it's you. But then I'm in this life, and he's a poor Roman man. Next scene, I go to his village and we're getting married, and we're in this village, and all the villagers are around us, and we're standing there, and I have flowers in my hair, and we're holding hands, and we're about to get married. And then the barbarians on horses come riding into the village. And mind you, I didn't even know the barbarians were around. My history of Roman time, I wasn't up on it. But in the barbarians riding the horses, the guy leading the barbarians was my husband from this life. And I see him, and he leans over to his henchman and he whispers something. The guy gets off the horse, comes around, and then he tells both Kelly and I to lean our heads forward, and he takes out a sword and chops both our heads off. And I immediately went up, and then I went into a couple of different lifetimes. So after that, I go to lunch with my friend, and I'm like, wow, that was amazing, blah, 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 blah. But I started to notice that pain I had had in my neck my entire life was gone. And I was like, holy crap, I don't have any pain in my neck. And it's interesting, my friend Kelly, who was in my past life, he had pain in his neck the entire time. And he's like, you've got to do a past life on me. So what I got from that was that when you do these past life regressions, you're releasing energy, and energy can be physical, which it usually is. Trauma to yourself goes physically into some area of your body. So that was so cool. And that hooked me. Being a healer, I'm like, I want to do this. So I went to go train with Dr. Weiss, and he did a past life on the group, and I couldn't go under anymore. It wasn't until his wife did a meditation, and she said, I'm going to do this meditation, and I'm going to take you down a river, and then at the end of the river, you're going to get off on the shore, and you'll look in the clouds, and you're going to ask a question, and you look in the clouds, and your answer will be in the clouds. So I'm like, okay, great. And she was sneaky because I didn't know it would turn the way it did. So she starts the meditation, and I'm going down the river, and I'm seeing myself, and I'm on a log as a young native boy. Then I'm on a ship as a man looking out this. And then I kept shifting into all of these past lives going down this river. And then finally I get off on the shore, and I am in full-on petticoats, bright blue. My hair is in ringlets. And in front of me is a mansion, like a colonial mansion that I had seen before. And so I look up in the sky, and my question was, who was Brandon to me? My son. And I look up in the sky, and I see your husband. And in this lifetime, it was a time in the South where he owned a plantation, and he was my husband. And what's interesting about all of this is And I had seen visions of this when I was doing my shaman training. I would always get a healing at the end. And at one point I was seeing the plantation, the exact same plantation, and all these atrocities happening to these Black people and this man doing it. Little did I know that that was Brandon. So that goes to this life where Brandon was transmuting his karmic energy from that time period. And all of Brandon's lifetime in this physical life, he had had difficulties with Black people, where he had been abused, physically abused, and over and over and over again until he was 22. And it was the last person really in his life. And it was this aide called Mr. T, this handsome, good-looking young Black man. And Brandon would beat the crap out of him. And I'd say, Mr. T, I said, how was Brandon today? He goes, oh, he beat me up, but I still love him. And after that, Brandon would ask for Mr. T all the time. He's like, school, Mr. T, school, Mr. T. And he loved him. So he had taken all of that energy from that time of that plantation life. And that's maybe why he came in the way he came in, so that he could pay back karmically everything that he did on that plantation, which I saw. And then by the end of his life, he had released it all. So